Welcome, learners, to Chitkara Online Masterclass. So today we have a guest who will discuss about supply chain management. So in difficult times, in uncertain times, how this can be done perfectly. We'll get the complete guidance and knowledge on that. Before that, I request Dr. Varun Nair to give a warm welcome to the guest.
Hi, so thanks a lot, Dilbag sir. We invite Mr. Saket Srivastava, Senior Business Consultant, Ernst Young. And sir, the way your profile is saying that you have a lot of enormous knowledge related to supply and chain. And I believe that in today's session, our learners, they are going to have a lot of values related to supply and chain. Coming to sir, previous profile, Saket sir is having a strong consultancy professionalism in their experience. He has almost 7+ years of experience in strategy and operation. Coming to sir, qualification, sir holds a postgraduate diploma in management with specialization in finance and strategy from Institute of Management Technology. He has done his Bachelor of Engineering with specialization in electronics and communication engineering from Birla Institute of Technology. Saket sir is one of the motivated young leader with an aptitude of problem solving. He has developed diverse skill sets across various sectors of the field of strategy, finance, supply chain, marketing, branding, and procurement. His area of expertise even comprises of how to route the market strategy, how to work on the financial modeling, how to come up with the sales and marketing strategies, and finally, he even has built up his consultancy in covering up the companies or associated with the companies leading to clean energy, oil and gas, petrochemical, fertilizers, biofuels, and EV sector. So I believe with such a vast experience, with such a vast values related to supply and chain, our learners they have lot of learning from you, and I believe this learners expectation, which is to come up and how to work on with the supply chain aspect, is going to met, and your values and your high expert is going to play a very important role in in satisfying their work style. So sir, over to you, sir, and it's a great pleasure to have you in this session.
To set the expectations right, and without wasting any further time, I would like to promise you a couple of things, so that we have the clear expectations between us. One, that I'll be sharing my perspectives, my trends and attributes which are right now contributing to global supply chain responses, mainly the new normal. And second, with my experience in supply chain, I would like to put that down into couple of points of factors that will help you develop a fair understanding on the supply chain planning and the global. Having said that, I am Saket Srivastava. I'm working with EY right now. It's been almost 2.5 years for me over here in EY. Overall experience what I carry is 10 years across geographies, across industries. To name a few, it was consumer durables for starting couple of years, followed by food and nutrition segment, and then it's been into consulting vertical that I'm part of now. So mainly what I'll do is that I'll take you through the certain mainly 5 checkpoints that I have gained in my learning parts of supply chain, which but mainly after the post pandemic scenario. So I will certainly talk about the new normal, which is the post pandemic framework of supply chain planning, and post that I will try to shift the gear to the overall supply chain reset, which is now a global phenomena. It is no more regional or the silo-based transactional thing that used to happen in the traditional framework. A flavor to it is the resilience and the agility that I'll also talk about. That how companies around the world, what are the factors which actually contributes to having a supply chain resilient and responsive to the consumer demand. It is totally linked to the global reach of the supply chain planning overall, because almost because uh, uh, almost 80% of the global trade which is happening right now is cross borders. It is not just limited to within certain state or certain country. Every microchip that you get, every slice of chip that you eat has a global connect, and every raw material that comes into play to manufacture these basic items truly are the global sourcing, I would say, framework. So yes, it is no more a regional based thing which was supposed to happen earlier. And last but not the least, I will take you through certain circular economy supply chain concepts, wherein things are now progressing to because we are in phase 3 of supply chain right now. If you guys are aware, there are 5 phases of supply chain when you talk about the maturity of your supply chain cycle. Right now, the world is working within the third phase, so we are yet to explore phase 4, phase 5, which mainly covers your sustainability and the circular economy of your overall supply chain, broadly the value chain itself. Yeah. To let's go ahead. Let's move to the first topic that I spoke of, which is new normal, obviously. And the since this lecture is mainly focused on supply chain planning as a new normal post pandemic, I would like to focus all the attributes and the perspectives specific to supply chain planning, just to set the expectations correct, so that you guys do not get confused at which vertical I'm talking about right now and how it affects certain other uh, you know the CFTs that we have got across the supply chain teams. So supply chain planning specifically, the new normal has undergone significant changes, I would say, because I got the opportunity to work before pandemic and also post pandemic also, and the changes and the adaptations that company has shown due to the challenges and the uncertainties which were brought by COVID was phenomenal, and it has also changed the global trade dynamics completely. So the considerations or the few factors which company have started incorporating in their supply chain for having a sound supply chain planning function within the organization in the new normal is started with having a resilient and a risk mitigation uh, 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 part to it. Meaning, companies have started diversifying their supplier base, and when I say they have started looking after they have started looking for more sources for any single item that you're trying to procure, say from one supplier base. Secondly, they have started reworking on their safety stock levels, and thirdly, they have started implementing the contingency plans to mitigate the risk. And when I say contingency plan, it could be of any nature related to your safety stock levels, related to your product harmonization, related to your overall planning process itself. So these are certain uh, diversified actions which companies have started already taking towards making your supply chain more resilient and more risk mitigation, through rather making it more stringent. They are moving towards making it more agile and more flexible, to so that they are ready for the responses, for any unexpected events, or any ad hoc events that into their play. So this is a one basic cultural change that has come up now, that I'm also have got a flavor of across companies. Secondly, is the role of digital transformation has actually created, or I would say have actually accelerated a bit in terms of supply chain planning specifically, because companies are now leveraging their analytics, their artificial intelligence, their machine learning and automation to have the most real time information for their supply chain, and obviously to optimize the inventory levels, their demand forecasting accuracy, and overall operational efficiency itself. So there are a lot of advancement in the technological front that has already happened and is already going on. You must be aware of almost 10-15 planning tools which are there in the market right now, and every tool has its own set of offerings for the customers. And now companies are in the phase of customizing those solutions for each and specific customer, so that for each specific client, depending on their business model, their supply chain, and their operational efficiencies that they want to monitor, which phase of their supply chain they want to transform, which phase of supply chain they want to have this digital thing into picture, so that they can have a centralized view, or they can have a more efficient process into place with some with a clear real-time visibility in terms of all the operational matrices which is there across your nodes in the supply chain. So when you say digital transformation, it is more towards leveraging your first of all having the analytics into place, and for that you need to have a robust backend data into place, and then you formulate that data through AI or through machine learning or through different planning tools and automation to have the real time information. So that's another perspective which companies are now working on. The third perspective is related to collaboration, which is again a very common word in our industry, but when it comes to supply chain collaboration, it is more of planning and execution of it. Okay, it is not just a word. The collaboration means here a much broader and a much enhanced communication within the stakeholders, so that you come up with a seamless decision making framework, and that helps to improve the coordination among suppliers, among manufacturers, among logistics providers, among your retailers, your wholesalers, and whatnot. Okay. So to have this better synchronization and responsiveness across the supply chain, to have this thing missed right now will be a disaster for any company, I would say. So maybe the supply chain collaboration piece of it, when it comes to being responsive, being agile, I guess a single platform to have all the real time data, and that visibility across all the shareholders for visibility across stakeholders, that can be your tier 1 supplier, tier 2 supplier, your manufacturers, your retailers and wholesalers. So you build that synchronization into your overall chain, so that for any unresponsive or for any ad hoc change that come into picture, you are capable enough to respond in that manner. So it's no more a reactive cycle that works right now. It's more of a response that you need to generate rather than being reactive at such situations. Because the only difference between reactive and response is when you are already prepared for the ad hoc thing, it clearly comes up in your finances, as in it even if the unexpected events hit, it does not impact your EBITDA, or it does not impact your variable margin straight away. Just because of you have to deliver to your customer, you take a hit on your manufacturing cost, you take a hit on your inventory, you take a hit on your transportation cost, your logistics and everything. So since you are prepared for already that risk, I guess you will be managing your finances very very well in terms of that. Next perspective will be is purely based on the scenario planning. Okay, so what traditional supply chain was working on was more towards having a not the comprehensive scenario planning, but then yes, certain silo scenario planning were there earlier. But now, when it comes to scenario planning, we talk about the comprehensive one to evaluate all the multiple possible outcomes at one single page, wherein we incorporate all the possible I would say advocacies that come into play, whether it's from manufacturing side, whether it's from demand side, whether it's from distribution side, whether it's from the sourcing side. So all the advocacies are purely taken into consideration when it comes to having the scenario planning done. And when you do this scenario planning, the biggest player that comes into picture over is finance, because for every scenario, when you come up with some suggestion on say for inventory, or for raw material sourcing, changing the norms of raw material items, or if not, or to have the optimum level of, or if you want to re-engineer your overall raw material sourcing practices, then obviously that gives a clear hit on your P&L, and obviously your working capital takes a real hit because of these strategies. So maybe when you deal with this scenario planning and you propose solutions to the leadership, to take your supply chain forward with this sense of responsiveness that you want to have. This comes at a cost of that which contingency plan you want to take it through, as in which multiple outcomes that the leadership wants to take on. So it's a good practice, I would say, scenario planning, to give your leadership the visibility on what factors are you working right now, and considering all the other factors into picture, where do we stand in terms of our supply chain responsiveness. And there comes the picture of localization and nearshoring, wherein certain unexpected events like COVID gave a backlash to this localization and nearshoring thing, because when you have a single source for say any part or any raw material, any truck sourcing or any other. So which is called a localization or near shoring. People do started realizing that the disruption which was caused by pandemic uh, really highlighted the vulnerabilities of the long and the complex supply chain. So we want to keep it very simple. We want to develop more local sources. We want to develop more nearshoring. We want to reassess our sourcing strategies, our trucking strategies, our dependence on the suppliers, so that the overall responsiveness can be improved. And it is all because of one factor, which is customer centricity, which is at the center of all these factors. Because uh, when you try to formulate a supply chain as a responsive one, you are only working it for having the customer getting the right product when they need it, and to obviously give them a personalized experience, in terms of order fulfillment, in terms of uh, having that visibility to them, that when their order will be dispatched or shipped and whatnot. So supply chain are actually designed right now to uh, deliver products and the services very very quickly, so that you meet the customer expectations quite effectively now. And with this customer centric approach, I guess supply chain planning and understanding the customer preferences and their buying behavior, because with the use of AI, with the use of machine learning, obviously you get these input data from the point of sale counters. So that can actually help you backtrack your overall nodes in the supply chain, starting from your inventory management to order fulfillment, customer preferences, and you can start reassessing your supply chain considering the inputs from the customers directly. So yes, this customer centricity, uh, uh, to understand the preferences, and also to analyze those preferences to reassess your supply chain will be is the uh, the key to go forward in the new normal. So yes, these are, six seven broad factors which I spoke of, will or is now even contributing to the supply chains being more resilient, agile, and I would say technology driven. Companies now are focusing more on the risk mitigation plan and the contingency plans into place, so that they do not fall short of supplies at the end moment when it is needed. uh, Collaboration and the customer centricity, what I talk about in the end, is the way to I would say adapt and you know and basically thrive in the supply chain industry. If companies are if companies want to evolve their supply chain, I guess these 5 6 points broadly is what I believe can contribute to the new normal supply chain. What now? Moving on to the great supply chain reset. We all have been hearing a lot about the supply chain reset, the global supply chain reset, which is nothing but, I I won't say it is a it's a formal term. It is not a well defined term actually, but what I can provide you is certain specific facts which are related to supply chain reset or transformations. So when it comes to reset, it is nothing but then it talks about how do you want to transform your supply chain from the current state to the as is state. And it is obviously has to deal with certain 6-7 attributes, so that you come up with that. The very first thing that comes to my mind is post depression disruption recovery. Okay, and that totally uh, means that supply chain reset only happens after disruption. Correct. So this post disruption recovery is the current phase we are in right now, wherein everybody is in the sense of having your supply chain supply chain status from current to as is. People are still evaluating what is this as is phase, but now at least we have that sense that after every unexpected event or disruption that happens, supply chain reset occurs. Organization then reorganizing or reevaluating or redesigning their supply chain to recover from the disruption and build resilience for the future shocks. So this is the main reason why the reset happens. The last reset happened before pandemic was in 1980s, when globalization came into picture. When and after that, even after the globalization, I know there have been certain biases according within the developed and developing nations, but 100 years down the line, with this current disaster of pandemic that we have got, there is no bar between the developed and developing nations, and I believe the majority of the market which got hit due to this pandemic was of the developed countries, because all their sources, all of their the sourcing strategies was originated from the developing countries, and hence they are now thinking of having this post disruption recovery through reevaluating and redesigning their supply chain completely. Uh, having said that, strategic realignment in terms of supply chain process and structures is also required, because organizations now need to restructure their strategies, restructure their goals, restructure their objectives, to align to the market dynamics and the changing customer preference. Because we all have seen with e-commerce coming into picture, with the market share of unorganized player getting high into the markets. Every organization is now trying to reassess their supply chain in terms of their overall supply chain goals and objectives. Obviously, for the offerings that they have for the customer, and also from the cost perspective. And with this changing market dynamics that have happened in last 2 years, I guess this strategic realignment from top to the bottom has to be done really seamlessly, because strategic realignment of overall supply chain process within the organization will be required. That involves the structural changes as well within the team, within the function itself. Having a good capability, within the team will also function here in the strategic realignment section, wherein you want to reanalyze or you want to reevaluate your capabilities for the team to assess those risk mitigation plans, to start assessing or to start re-engineering your goals and objectives. So yes, this strategic realignment I believe is the one process which will help supply chain reset for the organization. Digital transformation, what we already spoke of earlier in the in the new normal scenario will obviously be the driving force for supply chain reset. So I'll not talk about digital transformation again here, but then just to mention that digital transformation will also contribute to majority of the portion in the supply chain itself. One thing that we have already spoken about earlier is collaborations and partnerships for having resilient and responsive supply chain across your across the stakeholders, be it your supplier, tier 1, tier 2 manufacturers, wholesaler, retail distributors, and whatnot. So these 2-3 points which we already spoke of in the new normal, I guess, that will drive the supply chain reset also in the same fashion. One additional point here in the reset which I think will actually help organizations sustain for a longer period of time, which is the continuous improvement thing. And when I say continuous improvement, these are not a one-time event like we do in the digital transformation. We deployed a solution for a real-time visibility and it's done and you're getting the output. When I talk about continuous improvement, it's not a one-time activity that supply chain has to take up. It has to be an ongoing process. It has to be the process of review and optimizing your supply chain continuously and leveraging your capabilities, leveraging your performance matrices, leveraging your supply chain itself will be the key here, because when it comes to drive further enhancements in the market, you have to leverage your performance matrices. You have to leverage your the supply chain operations itself, because when you do not leverage it will be in that current situation rather than be it in the as is scenario. So maybe for this current to as is, there are two ways to it. One is to have a one-time solution. Two is to have an ongoing process. One-time solution, no matter we've already talked about a lot of things which are one-time can be done. But then a second way to reach from current to as is this continuous improvement cycle, which is an ongoing thing across cross-functional teams. Obviously, the supply chain has to be the driver for it, but it will overall happen only when you start leveraging on your overall supply chain operations and your performance metrics also. Okay. So when I talk about the strategic realignment, if you remember, I spoke of talent and capability development also, which will function within the strategic alignment thing, and I guess that itself will contribute to majority of the shift that company wants to see within its organization, especially in the supply chain framework, wherein you focus more on the talent development or upskilling your organizations and training them and developing the workforce to the new technologies, to the new processes and the waves of the current way of associated supply chain function working standards. So I guess these type of upgradation also will actually help organizations to have that reset into place more efficiently. Customer centric approach, I guess we have already spoke of, so that is completely okay. That's not a problem at all. Next thing that I want to talk about is a word which I have used almost 20 odd times till now, which is being resilient. Supply chain resiliency, supply chain agility, or responsiveness is the buzzword that we have been hearing since almost last 2-3 years now. But to take you through it, first of all, it is just the to define in very simple terms. It is the ability for your supply chain, to recover and to adapt to the disruption and the shocks, the unexpected disruption, the shocks to be precise. And to have this into place, I guess the very first thing that need to happen is we need to understand the importance of it at the very first place. Because before this, even me personally, I haven't heard of resilient supply chain term before the pandemic. When it got hit with all sort of unexpected disruptions, it was one of a kind. But then the other could be due to natural disasters, due to political, geopolitical events, due to economic downturns or slowdown or anything XYZ. So these scenarios can come in future in different forms. So we all have to be very resilient in terms of having the continuity for the operations, and to reduce the financial losses that we have experienced in the last 2 years. I guess a lot of companies have, if I remember it correct, I was reading a report from Gartner, and they told that 45% of the companies globally have take a hit on their EBITDA due to this post-pandemic situation and loss in the supplies, and just because they have lost in the continuity of the supplies for raw materials. And obviously that actually hampers your company's reputation, that actually hampers the customer's trust, that actually hampers your overall motivation within the team when you have certain performance matrices for your supply chain not being met due to any XYZ reason. Be it not the controlled one, but when it comes to such disruptions which are unexpected, mainly by geopolitical or the economic downturns, you need to have that continuity into place when it comes to to figure out your financial losses first, and then you start protecting your operations, start protecting your orders for the customers. Second part, or the second term, which is very much associated with resilience, is risk assessment. Because it is a driver for your supply chain to be resilient enough, because when you are already prepared with all the scenarios, or all, I would say, all the potential risk and the vulnerabilities that your company can expect, in due course of time, then obviously you are already proactive in terms of having those factors incorporated in your supply chain, and your supply chain become more reliable in terms of the offerings and the potential risk which you actually expect. And this can be done through single source dependencies. Obviously, when you work with only single source as your partner, you actually have to start assessing this, how to re-engineer those risks into place. And it is totally not based on the single source dependency itself. That can happen on the transportation front as well. That can happen on your regulatory compliance thing as well. So yes, assessing all these factors and starting to reassess your supply chain with all these possible risks and vulnerabilities that you have into place, and and obviously developing scenarios for leadership to take a call that which are the options which are financially viable to go ahead. and to have that resiliency into place when it comes to responsiveness of your supply chain. So this is I guess the another driver for resilient supply chain. Post that, it is more towards information visibility, the real time information that we spoke of, continuous improvement we already spoke of, scenario planning I've already touched base on it, collaboration and relationships already we have touched based on the last two topics as well. So however, these are the drivers for being resilient, but the main ones would be understanding the importance of being resilient, and then starting assessing your risk assessment, or to start re-engineering your supply chain, wherein you do not come wherein you do not come with the options only with the current situation, but then you start developing scenarios, considering all the potential and the possible risks for your supply chain that can happen, starting from your the sourcing strategy till your last mile deliveries. And with all these node based scenario planning has to be linked with your the financial matrices that you have got, so that we can have a clear visibility on the on the financial perspective also, that which option, if I want to go ahead with, say, if I want to go ahead with a just to maintain the continuity, if I want to go ahead with certain financial losses at one node, then we must be accountable for any other matrices which are getting hit to do that decision. And depending on the basic objective and the strategy of the company, maybe we can take that call if we have to go ahead with that option or not. So these are the certain points which were related to resilience. However, when I talk about resilience, I cannot miss the global reach of it, because right now around 80% of the global trade is conducted through the global value chains, and then 80% is a huge number, where all the products and the components that you get comes from across borders till the time it reaches to the final customer. So yes, it's a huge volume that we're talking about here, with all sort of complexity, with all sort of economic impact that we are experiencing right now, with because supply chain industry contributes to around 28% of the overall economy to total employment of the world. I'm saying, to be specific, for US it's 37%. For India, it's 19% of the total employment of the overall economy. So yes, the economic impact even will be really huge. But when we talk about such complexities, the resilient will play a very important role here when it comes to responsiveness. And obviously, to be more amplified in terms of demand variability, to be more amplified in terms of your just in time practices that you do, to be more amplified in terms of your continuous improvement process that you do. So all these things are completely interrelated. But when you talk about this resilience, supply chain reset, and all the other factors, these are all interrelated, and all the factors that I spoke of in within last 40 minutes has to be backed with a circular economy, has to be backed with a sustainable supply chain, which is basically the phase 4 and phase 5 of the overall value chain that we are into right now. And that will only happen when we minimize the waste, when we maximize the resource efficiency, when we promote sustainability within our supply chain across the organizations. It is more of a I would say economic model which companies have already started working on. I got the opportunity to work for a company called Philip Morris, which is a tobacco manufacturing company, and now uh, they have actually reshaped or re-engineered their overall vision from smoke to a smoke-free future, and which is purely based on this circular economy concept, circular economy values. And the company itself is now working on this closed loop system wherein they talk about the value retention, they talk about resource preservation, they talk about waste reduction and recycling, refurbishing, and then repackaging the used product and sell it to the customers again with some lower value on it. But then yes, it's a fair amount of economic model that companies have started already working on. Mainly, it happens in the resource efficiency and waste reduction collaboration way, because that's the only I would say sustainable and regenerative economic system that can come into picture. But then by embracing these principles, I guess the circular economy aims to address the environmental changes. That is for sure, and create a long-term economic and social benefits. Uh, the reverse logistics and the end of life management piece of it contributes to majority of the logistics framework here, because when it comes to establishing the efficient system for your collecting, recycling, and properly disposing of the products and materials at the end of your life, and whatnot, because it is the part of uh, product life extension, correct? Because when you refurbish a product or when you recycle a product, you are actually extending its life to a certain extent by upgrading it, by repairing it, by enabling products to remain functional and valuable for longer period of time. So reverse logistics here plays a very important role in terms of life extension of a product. And obviously when it comes to collaborative business model, the reverse logistics come here into as a picture, because this is product as a service model. This is the 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 circular economy encourages uh, collaboration among various stakeholders, because these starts from your government, starts then it descends down to the business and then consumers. And having this sort of a model will actually promote resource sharing and utilization also. So I guess all the all the resets, all the supply chain resilience and everything has to be backed by sustainability now, because we all are experiencing the tough advocacies that nature is embarking us right now, and we have to be very thoughtful and very innovative in terms of how we do business and how we want to carry it forward to have a reduced waste and efficient resource sort of economy, rather than just a dumping waste economy for any product. So we need to think more of a long-term economic and socio-economic benefit as well, to be precise. So to address the environmental challenges, and also at the same time having our supply chain into place for system oriented thinking, and for to have it more innovative oriented, to have it more innovative in terms of energy adaptation, renewable energy adaptation, which will actually have which will actually uh, you know which will actually reduce our reliance on the fossil fuels, and lowers the environmental impact also, and it also promotes the use of renewable energy sources also, throughout the product life cycle, starting from your manufacturing to the distribution, to the recycling piece of it as well. Yeah. So that's all from my end. I'm Saket Srivastava, signing off. Please do get in touch with me either through phone or mail or LinkedIn or any other source that you get on. I will ask Mr. Roje to share all my contact details with you for any questions or support, any guidance. And please feel free to reach out for any feedbacks or any thing that you feel could have been improved here. Last but not the least, would like to thank Mr. Roje and the organizing committee to have this session organized. It was really fun interacting with you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saket, for this wonderful, enlightening session and giving us such a deep, in-depth knowledge about supply chain management. Now, I again request Dr. Varun to give a thanks message for this awesome session.
So thank you, sir. So thank you, Mr. Srivastava. So the session was brilliant. I believe the learners today, they have learned minute issues or technicalities related to supply chain management. And I believe this session is going to change their future, their way of thinking about the supply chain, and what they have thought in their mind at the initial stage of the lecture or the start of the lecture. And now they will be in different zone of mind, different set of mindset they are having. And sir, the way you have touched the technicalities, minute issues, and the global aspects of supply chain, it is a wonderful session for us. And at last, I would like to thank you again, sir, on behalf of Chitkara University, Chitkara Center for Continuing Education, on behalf of our learners, our faculties who are part of this session. And I believe your association in future is also going to create a wonderful environment for our learners, even for us and for the Chitkara family. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining. Thanks.